Daf Pei Aleph is dedicated to a refuah shlema for Tamchum and Chan. Our subject today are 10 decrees issued by Yeshua ben Nun. Although the tribes and their individual members were entitled to private ownership, they were required to consider the collective needs of Klal Yisrael as well. Takana number 1, they were required to allow others to let their small domesticated animals graze in their privately owned dense forests. Any damage would be minimal. Takana number 2, an owner of a field must permit another to gather prickly trees and shrubs that were still moist and not cut down as long as not uprooting the plant. Removing them actually benefits their owners. Takana number 3, an owner of a field must permit another to gather grasses that grow wild with what is planted, except in a fenugreek field that is grown for their seeds, or if they are for human consumption, because the grasses weaken the seeds. If it is grown for stalks, the grasses actually reinforce their growth by supporting them, or for animal consumption, that grasses can be fed to them as well. Takana number 4, cutting shoots from another's tree is permitted for planting or grafting. One is permitted to cut shoots from another's olive trees as long as he leaves the stump the height of an egg. Grapevines and reeds, one can cut from the knot closest to the vine. Other trees have to be cut only from soft and thin branches that have not as of yet produced fruit and are not exposed to the sun. Takana number 5. One can draw water from a private spring that came up in somebody's field without paying for it. Now, Takana number 6. Any tribe can fish in the Kinneret, even though it is part of the inheritance of Naphtali, as long as they do not construct a wall in the water to trap the fish that would impede the movement of boats. However, they may use nets. Actually, this was agreed upon by the tribes without a special takana. Naphtali was given an additional area on the south shore to pull in its nets, which was not part of their inheritance. Takana number 7. Wayfarers were permitted to defecate behind a privately owned fence. They were permitted to use a stone from the fence to clean themselves even on Shabbos. According to Rashi, even cemented in the wall, it was permitted to take out because he removed it not almanas livnos, and therefore the Yisur was only the Rabbanan. According to other Mefarshim, it was only a stone placed in but not cement. Takana number 8. People could shortcut through the fields of others until the second rainfall of the season when the grain began to sprout. In Bavel, it was after the first dew. This was a takana instituted by Shlomo Melech, not by Yeshua ben Nun. Takana number 9. People were permitted to walk on the sides of the road after the winter because it was difficult to walk through the main thoroughfare. And that would mean even if they were treading on other people's fields. Takana number 10. One who was lost in a vineyard was permitted to cut his way through the road in order to get to the road, rather than going around the perimeter. According to the Muri, he had to compensate the owner for cutting his way through. Takana 11. A meis mitzvah, one who has nobody to bury him, acquires the spot where he died unless it is in the middle of the road. He can be moved to an area at the side of the road that will be the least damaging to the owner, such as if on one side there's a plowed field and the other there's one which is fallow, he is buried in the fallow field. The Gemara questions the number 10. As we see, there was actually 11 takanas. As we explained, one of them was a takana of Shlomo Melech, and there were other takanas. For example, one to leave his refuse in the street by people walking on it for 30 days to make it into fertilizer. Also, one was permitted to cut off a branch from another's tree to retrieve his bees that left the beehive, as long as he compensated the owner. Also, one was required to spill out his barrel of wine to save another's barrel of honey, as long as he would be compensated for the wine. The reason why these were not mentioned, because these represented minority as opposed to majority opinions.